Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Solutions Brewing Podcast. My name is Stephen, and I'm joined by both my compatriots here, Brendan and Rob. And I have returned from a long journey to the other side of the country. Do you guys actually record last week or not?
No.
You bastards.
We didn't have anybody to do the intro, Steve.
Oh, well.
Actually, no, it was the timing didn't work out, man. It was because you guys couldn't do it on Tuesday, and then I couldn't do it Wednesday, and then or Thursday.
Yeah,
So
I was out at the hockey game last week, and we lost. Sad day.
The Calgary Flames lost. I'm shocked.
Yeah, but I mean, they usually win when I'm there. But
So the streak's been broken. Oh no,
it has. And there goes my chance for making a bid for free season's tickets. So
yeah, they know now.
Anyway, you were traveling. You were
Indeed,
stateside.
I was on stateside. I was in the capital, actually, visiting friends there, and was there for about a week. So managed to wander around. Did not get kicked out of any important places or anything like that. Didn't manage to sneak into any important places either. But yeah, it was a fairly good trip in that. We were there for that. So yeah, we got back on Saturday, and then I've been jet lagged basically until today, because it was the flight out there was bad. We were delayed leaving. It was a ride heading out to DC, and then on the way back, had a delay in DC, a delay in Toronto. So we arrived like 2.5 hours after we were supposed to arrive in Calgary. So it's like literally 2:00 in the morning. Didn't get back to our house till about 2:30, and just wrecked for sleep for like the next couple of days, because it's like, I got to do this, and then we're picking up our son, and look at him, he's full of energy, and I have none. Yay! But while I was down there, I was able to have a selection of brews from a couple different places, which was interesting. Though I could have had more variety in that if the one liquor store near where we were staying at's place, they had like 4 or 5 different ones, but all of them were either wine boutiques or specialized in not beer. So, and the one that did, every time I went, it was closed. And I was getting really frustrated with it, because I'm like, it wasn't that far, but every time I went, the bar next to it was open, but it itself was closed. And I think they're owned by the same people, but they didn't have people running that one, even though on like Google or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, the liquor store should be open. Like, it's a Wednesday at noon. Like, why wouldn't it be open? And it wasn't. And yeah, it impacted it. So I didn't get a wide selection of beers to sample, because I basically had to buy the bourbon store, and the bourbon store carried Guinness and Sierra Nevada and a few, and like Fat Tire, like New Belgium, and that was it.
Yeah. But did you try the bourbon then? I guess
I did try some of the bourbon.
This is a bourbon heavy episode.
Our host had some bourbon, and it was it did not change my opinion on bourbon, which is I'd rather have some rye. It was a very smooth bourbon, and it was a very smoky and sweet bourbon, but at the end of the day, just like, why did you ruin this rye with a bunch of corn in it? That's weird.
Not every hard liquor starts out as rye, Steve.
Every hard liquor should start out as rye. But anyways, so I don't know if you guys have experienced this, because I haven't traveled in 4 years. And one thing that's really, you see at a lot of places now, in DC at least, is it's online ordering. So like, you still have paper menus and that, but you don't, like, a server can come down around and take your order. But if you want, you can literally scan a QR code on your phone, on your app. It brings you to the restaurants, or the like, as you see, one of them was a beer garden we went to the website. And so they have a QR code for each seat. So you can order to your seat, or you can order for the group or whatever, but it does it that way. So then you can just select what you want, and then they just run it over. Like, it's super simple. So that was something that I hadn't like in this area we hadn't seen before. And I was commenting it to Alex, and she's just like, yeah, like most restaurants, like because of the pandemic, do that now. Like it goes all through their website. You input your credit card information, and you just pay that way. And so then it opens a tab, and then you can basically drink for as long as you want. And then if you leave for whatever reason, it just automatically shuts the tab. So it was really interesting. Though I will note, beer is the same price. So I went.
So beer is 35% more expensive.
Beer is 35% more expensive. So the first one on the list here is Valor Brew Pub. It was a couple blocks from where my friend was, and it's right across from one of the Marine barracks in DC. So it's got like all these heritage like buildings and like old dormitories on the side here, and it's actually owned by veterans. Super neat and all that.
Cool.
Walk in. It's got like flags up on the wall and like medals, and they've got pictures of various like war zones and where people have served and all kind of, and people donate to it. It's super super neat. But starting to order beers, and it's like okay, like doing it, and for a pint, it was $8 US. So he didn't say they're too long or anything like that. And the beer was okay. Like there was nothing there that was special. Oh, they had a copper lager that was really really good. That was really really smooth. But like their hazy IPA was a hazy IPA, and their West Coast IPA was a West Coast IPA, and all that. So it was like okay,
delicious.
Delicious. And I actually had a really good smash burger there that they did. It was done with mustard and onions. It was actually really really good. But yeah, it was it was just like, oh, I thought beer prices were going to be less expensive here. They're actually more expensive. The cheapest beers were on the plane.
Wow.
So like legitimately, the $10 I spent for craft beer on the plane was cheaper than some of the beers that I had in DC. Again, buying from the liquor store was definitely like the cheapest way to go. And I did have one really good local spot. They're called DC Brow. They've been around for I think it's like 13 years now or something like that. But all their beers are like DC themed. So like their hazy is called The Corruption, and it's got a big thing of like the Capitol building on the side of it. And then they've got like Legislative Authority is like one of their pilsners or something like that. So it had some of their beers, and they were good beers, and they're like well priced. They're like, $11 for a.
Do they have a cold?
six-pack.
Do they have a peach flavored Kolsch called the Impeachment?
I think they did, as it was in their tap room.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had one there for a little bit, because they mentioned on the website, but you can't get it anywhere. So I think they had it for a bit. And then like I had another one. It was from Pennsylvania, which is fairly close by. It was a soured berried Belgian triple.
How was it?
Sour. Like legitimately sour. Like
just like all sour.
So like how like when we do the dark humor, dark ritual, it's like maybe a 2-day, like an equivalent to like a 2-day kettle sour. This was like a 3.5-day kettle sour. It was like, it made me pucker. So, and it was 9%. Well, which begs to the Belgian triple.
That kind of makes me think of, I was over at Main Street on Sunday, Main Street Barbecue in Airdrie on Sunday, and they had a beer that I had seen there before. They had a lemon basil sour. I was like, sounds interesting. Can't taste the lemon or the basil because it's so sour. You can't. I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. I was kind of curious. I was kind of like, I wonder how basil would taste in a beer.
Still wondering.
Still wondering.
And then on one of the nights, they took us through. There's an Oktoberfest style beer garden place that has like a couple spots in DC called Dachshund Beer Garden. It's the same sort of thing. They just like, it's just huge bench seating. They specialize in German pretzels and that kind of stuff.
Pretzels and sausages and
but their big thing is that they import a whole bunch of beer from Weinstoffen, which is the oldest brewery in the world, founded in 1040. So
1040?
1040.
Wow.
Yeah, so predates German purity law, and they basically they advertise both in the beer garden and on the brewery's website. It's these are the German standard beers. So I had.
Did they just issue the Reinheitsgebot because they're like, fuck that, we're older than this, we don't have to follow this shit?
They might have.
Don't they wasn't Reinheitsgebot 1500s or something like that? Or
Yeah.
was it 1800s?
No, it's 1400s.
This is our first episode. We should know this.
Yeah.
We should.
But it's okay, so even if it's early, say 1400s, they predate that by 400 years.
Yep. They predate Gozas by 300 years because the Gozas were 1340s. Then when they were kind of made.
That's insane.
For the first time. So
1516 for Reinheitsgebot.
Yeah,
so they predate them by 500 years. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's hilarious because their Hefeweizen is the Hefeweizen, and I had their Pilsner, I had their Dunkel, and I had one more, or I might have switched to some local brews at that point. But that was interesting. They came in the proper half liter. All the other ones were standard pint, 12 ounces or 16 ounces, and these came in proper half liter, or you could get a liter boot. But Kelsey wouldn't let me get a liter boot because she's like, no, you can't get too drunk tonight. And I was like, that sucks.
So I could have had that. So you got 2 half pints instead.
Yes.
2 500s.
But the 1 liter came in literally a boot. They had boot shaped glasses.
I'm surprised the US knows what half a liter is. That's kind of good.
It is really funny because it's 0.5. It was they had it either as half liter in some places, depending where you went, or it was 500 milliliters, and then they had bracket how many ounces it was. But no, I was going to say I didn't get too much opportunity to wander and check out some of the brew pubs, which was unfortunate because just because of timing and where we were, we didn't have a car to go places. We were taking the metro or walking because we were in DC. We were 20 minutes from the Capitol building.
Were you there for the eclipse as well?
No, we came back before the eclipse, which is unfortunate. It would have been neat to be down there for that, but that's fine. The whatchamacallit, there was a bunch of breweries just outside of the deep, of what is considered the District of Columbia, in either Maryland or Virginia, and we were just far enough outside that it wasn't quite worth it to go. So, it was a good trip though. It was had some interesting beers, and Nat drank a lot of wine. They were definitely wine people, so we drank a lot of wine. But there's another brewery I had from Maryland, but I can't find their beers. So to Nathan, who I met on that night, who came over for the games night, your beer was delicious, but I can't remember what the hell it was.
Do you have a favorite?
The favorite
was it the beer from Nathan that you can't rember?
No,
that would be tragic.
That was a basic. It was really funny. It was a basic blonde. I'm like, our blonde's better. I can't remember the name of it though. It was first something. Probably the favorite beer I had was probably the German ones because they were this.
Not even the American beers.
Yeah. No, the Valor beers were good, but of the 4 of they had 7 on the menu and I had 4 of them. None of them stood out, which was unfortunate. If we'd stayed there a little longer, I would have had their stout, but it seemed very, very close to our stout sort of thing. So I would have compared it a little bit more harshly, I think. But yeah, it was a good trip. I did a lot of walking. I walked off all the beer that I drank. That's for sure. One of the days we did 5 miles worth of walking. We did the whole National Mall, all there. Then we took a detour and then all the way back. It was huge. We did a big walk. Got to see the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. Got to see a bunch of fancy paintings at the Smithsonian. Got to see, what was it, the Hope Diamond? It's a big diamond.
It's a big rock.
It's a big rock. So yeah, like it was interesting.
Well, welcome back to Canada.
Yep, glad to be back. Where beer prices are a little bit more reasonable, and I have access to my own beer, which is a lot more reasonable.
So,
yeah.
What else happened? There was vodka being sold for ungodly
There was
low
controversy
prices.
in Alberta and Edmonton.
That's right.
So I've been talking for a little bit, so I'm going to toss this over to Rob. Rob, what happened while I was gone?
Right. So there's headlines about a liquor store or liquor stores in Edmonton that are selling 4-liter jugs of vodka for $50. It's made by a craft distillery called T-Rex. So the only reason this is making headlines is because that's insanely cheap for vodka.
Well, $10 a liter is very, very cheap. Less than. That's about that.
No, it's a little more. It says $50 for 4 liters.
Oh, so $12.50 a liter,
Which is still very cheap for vodka.
which is still very cheap.
Which is insane. So it's funny because it was the AGLC, one of the AGLC, the minister. No, it wasn't AGLC. It was the minister of what is it? I thought I had it was Dale Nally, the Service Alberta minister, who said that the price was not very responsible, in quotes. So as a result of all of this, the distillery has said, okay, we won't do this anymore. But they also said this was all approved, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are rules on, there's already minimum rules on pricing in terms of what we're allowed to sell for wholesale.
Yes.
But each retailer is allowed to set their own shelf price. So, I mean, if they don't want it at that, the retailer could set it at higher.
Well, and here's the first thing. It was originally on sale because before it was like
it's actually like $60, and it's
it's like $60 or $66 for the 4-liter milk jug of vodka.
Yes, it is in a plastic jug, folks. It's not enough.
But yeah, like that's you come back and I'm like recovering on the Monday or whatever, and you guys send this to me, and I'm like, what? What's going on here? The thing that's most shocking is that it's literally in a milk jug. Like that's how that
they
is
call it a party thing. I mean, it's really good if you're gonna have if you're making like a giant
something.
Let's call it a fruit punch or something, or whatever you're making. You're just
Trojan horse tranquilizer or something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Porch crawler.
If you're just if you're filling up like
some Yucca Flux or something like that.
Or something like that. I mean, then that kind of that volume makes sense, but yeah. But I guess the distillery said that they were getting mixed reviews on it anyways. Like they said it was about 50-50, where half the people complained about it, another half
loved it,
appreciated it.
Yeah, appreciated for its value proposition there.
You can draw a line right around the age of 25 where you go from loving it to hating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing, I whatever, I don't care about this. So it, draws attention. Sure. Okay. Sure. So it was $60. They put it on sale for $50. Oh no, people are in trouble. But what bothered me about this was that this service minister is also looking to pass a bill that would potentially force retailers to set things at certain prices as well.
Which I disagree with because, so first off, liquor is expensive as it is compared to other jurisdictions. Like the amount of taxes and all this kind of stuff goes on, and retailers are allowed to buy wholesale prices are set, and if the minister had a problem with this, it would have came up through the normal means when they were registering the product, but clearly they didn't have a problem when they registered the product. They're like, okay, you're good to go. So it's kind of a real reactionary trying to put the horse back in the barn now already after the horses run out the barn and kicked over the stable.
It basically makes it more like Saskatchewan or Ontario. where the province sets the price of booze. I think BC does the same thing too.
Yeah.
As opposed to where in Alberta, where it's just wild, wild west. You say we can make it for X dollars, retailer can sell it for Y, and then that's that.
Yeah. And like clearly, like if this was selling well, he wouldn't have put it on sale. Like clearly he had bought this product and was like,
you know, you could be doing that just to get people in the store too. But
yeah, maybe. But at the same time, like again, the quality of the vodka at its price point, like if you've got to be allowed to like be able to basically sell it, because if you want to sell it at a loss, go right ahead. But no retailer is going to sell it at a loss unless it's taking up shelf space and they're like, oh geez, I need to get this out of here. And that's kind of what this looks like, because even in the picture they show, like it's a little display, and there's not a lot there. Like there's maybe like 2 cases underneath it or something.
No, well, I mean,
like,
how many jugs are you going to put in a case, right? So there's probably
like
4 of them, probably 4 in a case. They probably come in just like in a grocery store, like a milk crate.
So like again, there's not that many there. So like it's a lot of hubbub about nothing. And of course, the small-minded government who's like, we got to get government regulation and reduce red tape and all this kind of stuff. Their first reaction is like moral panic. We've got to regulate this, and it's like, no, you don't need to. I was going to say, Brendan, you have any strong opinions on this?
None whatsoever. I just thought it was a funny article.
Oh yeah, okay. If I had seen that, I would have bought it. Like if that was like for sale at my local liquor store and I saw that,
great accelerant for fire starters.
I look at it and I'd be like, I shouldn't, but I have to. Like it's kind of like you see like a unicorn in the wild and you're like, oh, that's super neat. I gotta touch it. Like that's kind of what it is. Like whenever else are you ever going to buy vodka that cheap again? Never.
You find unicorns in the wild often there, Steve?
Well, I might be drunk on this cheap vodka. You never know. I could be hallucinating a whole bunch of shit with the methanol in there.
No.
But put it up in my liquor cabinet and then like come back a week later and it's like everywhere because it's dissolved through the plastic.
Yeah, but I agree with Rob. The concerning thing is opening the door for retail price regulation in Alberta, which we stepped away from 40 years ago.
Yeah, 30, 40 years ago.
Haven't really looked back, and so it'd be a big step backwards for the province if we went that route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully that doesn't happen. But people right now can buy our not strictly not price set merchandise, and if they wanted to pick up some fantastic beers from us, how could they do it, Steve? You've been stateside for a while. Let's see if you remember.
Well, my memory is like a steel trap. I'm not going to forget a single thing. You could go to our website, solutionsbrewing.com, where you'll be prompted. There's a sign up for our newsletter and also our store where you can put in an order and we will deliver to your door in the Greater Calgary and Airdrie areas. You can also send an email directly to noproblems@solutionsbrewing.com. Or go to our socials, Instagram or Facebook at Solutions Brewing Co. See?
Excellent.
Mine like a steel trap. But yeah. So I was away for a bit. It's good to be back. And for those who are in Cochrane, there is a Sip Savor event at the local Rotary Club, aka the curling rink, aka the what used to be Big Hill 2-for-1 Pizza. They used to be in the basement there.
Is that called the Lions Club? Is that the Lions
Technically.
Club? Used to be the Lions Club. Is the Lions?
It is the Lions Club, I think.
It's where the pool used to be. It's kind of close to the rodeo grounds.
Yeah. But there is a tasting event there this Saturday, starting, I think, at 5 o'clock. But I'll be there. I might have an assistant. I might not. It's a super small show. And I'll be giving away samples and talking to people. So if you happen to be that way, we'll hopefully see you there.
Yeah, go there for a beer or go ahead and Rochambeau, Steve.
And with that, we're out.
And yeah, thanks everyone. We'll
Take
talk
care,
to you
everybody.
next time.